Om Sai Ram. A warm welcome to all my Sai devotees. Today we are going to listen the fourth chapter of Sri Sai Satcharita, the appearance of Sai Samartha. In the previous two chapters, the invocation was accomplished. Then the purpose for writing this book was told, and the qualification of the author to write introductory reasons and framing the definitions were discussed in details. Now, for what reasons do the saints take birth on earth and the sinfulness of the human beings, which leads to their appearance on earth? O you honored listeners, I am a particle of dust at your feet. Pay attention, is the favor I ask of you, which I am not ashamed to do, as it is the biography of a saint is pleasing. Moreover, Sai's story is like nectar. When the numerous devotees of Sai partake it, they are full of happiness. Brahmins are neglecting the duties of caste and birth. The low castes are trying to pass themselves off as Brahmins. The religious teachers are disrespected, and the people try to bully others. Nobody cares for the dictates of religion. In every house, all are self styled scholars. One tries to overpower the other, and nobody listens to anybody. Drinks and eatables which are forbidden are savored. Right behavior and right thinking, all these are completely disregarded. And Brahmins actually eat meat and drink liquor openly. And the Brahmins are reluctant towards daily bath and offering of prayers, when the Orthodox are reluctant to practice the religious deities, and the yogis are reluctant to do recitation and prayers with deep concentration, and then the time is ripe for the saints to take birth. When people believe that happiness consists only in society, wealth, status, progeny, and family, and turn away from spiritual values, then the saints manifest themselves. They lost the highest good because of the decline of Dharma. In order to bring about the revival of Dharma, the saints appear. When people, to detriment of their health, longevity, and prosperity, go astray in pursuing their sexual needs and completely miss a chance of their upliftment, at such times saints take birth to protect the religion of Vedic Hinduism and annihilate the sinfulness, and to protect the downtrodden, poor, and weak, the saints incarnate on this earth. The saints themselves are liberated souls and are always ready for the betterment of the weak. They take birth only for the sake of others and have no self interest. They build the foundation in one form of renunciation around the sanctum sanctorum of active worldly life, build the temple of ultimate good, and easily elevate the devotees. By working for religion and for the awakening of religion, they achieve their mission in life, and having fulfilled their goal, they give up their mortal coil. The individual soul is itself the Supreme Spirit which gives joy to the whole world, and the Supreme Spirit is the Guru himself, Shankara, the giver of bliss. He is the transcendent abode of love. He is the eternal, constant, and unchangeable. He is beyond space, time, and matter. He is beyond definition, indefinable. The four modes of speech, para, that which only the yogis practice and is symbolized by the mystic syllable Om. Pashyanti, speech in second stage, which has its seat in the mind. Madhyama, speech in the third stage, which has its seat in the trachea. Vaikhari, articulate utterance have failed to describe him, and even the wisdom of ingenuity of the Vedas have accepted defeat and taken recourse to the negative description, neti, neti, not this, not this. The six Shastras of their six philosophies have avoided describing him. The Puranas and the Kirtanas have also become wary. Praying with the heart, body, and mind is the only mean to understand him. Such is the life story of the saint Sai, whose deeds are extremely mysterious. By listening to the pure story, why should the ears be not purified? He is the moving force behind all the sense organs. He gives inspiration to write the book, and because of him, the writing of the biography is orderly and effortless. He resides in everybody's hearts. He is the dweller within and without. He is all pervading. Why should I then unnecessarily worry? For what? When I recall his virtues, one by one my mind comes to the standstill. How will my words be able to describe him? It is better or best to keep silent with respect to him. The nose should inhale the fragrance of the flower, and the skin should know the difference between hot and cold by the touch. The eyes should enjoy the beauty. Thus, the senses make themselves happy. The tongue knows the sweetness of the sugar but cannot express it. Similarly, I am unable to describe the virtues of sight. When the Sadguru determines, he himself will give the inspiration. He puts into words and which is undescribable through his chosen men by saying this is not just a formality, these words are not just a superficial, these words are genuinely sincere, and I pray for your respectful attention. Like Gangapur, Narasimhawadi, Audambar and Bilawadi, so also like the banks of the Godavari, the holy place of Shirdi is situated. The holy banks of the Godavari, the holy waters of the Godavari, the cool breezes of the Godavari. These all destroy the darkness of the material world. The sanctity of Godavari is renowned all over the world. Here has been the land of saints, one nobler than the other. There are many holy places on the banks of the Gomati, whose waters wash away the sins. Drinking the water and bathing in it cures the ills of worldly existence. This is described in Puranas. The Godavari of Ahmednagar district of Kopargaon Taluka shows the way to Shirdi, which is near to Kopargaon. As you cross over to the opposite bank of the Godavari at the distance of about 6 miles, as the Tonga enters Neemgaon, Shirdi is immediately within sight. Nivritti, Dhyandev, Muktabai, Nangdev, Janbhai, Gota Kumhar, Gorai, Tukaram, Narhari, Narsih Bhai, Mehta, Sajan Kasai, and Savta Mali. These have been the saints of yore. At present also there are a number of them who regard the whole world as one family and are the support of the sorrowing and the miserable. Ramdas, the foremost of the saints, left the banks of Godavari and appeared on the banks of the Krishna for the deliverance of the world. So also Sai, a great Yogeshwar, by the great good fortune of Shirdi for the sake of the deliverance of the world, appeared on the banks of the Godavari. Paris turn iron into gold. Similarly are the saints to the Paris. The deeds of the saints are out of the ordinary. They give their own image to the devotees, transcending all distinctions and seeing the Brahman manifested in the whole universe. They only see the glory of Brahman reflected uniformly in themselves and in the world around. In this way, when there is realization that the whole universe is one's own self, how can the happiness be described? It will lead to the experience of the highest good. When one attains such oneness, why should there be an enmity or fear for anybody? You need to resort to no one else, like Damaji at Mangalwadi, Ramdas at Sajjangad, Narasimha Saraswati at Wadi, so Sainath was at Shirdi. Difficult and impossible as the worldly existence is, he is a triumph over it. Peace was his ornament, and he was the treasure house of knowledge. He was a heaven of the Vaishnavatis, the most benevolent among the benevolent. The bestowing spiritual knowledge, he was an avatar of Kand. Sai is the quintessence of truth. Without any attachment to the perishable, absorbed in his own self, he concentrates on the single goal of the Supreme. Indescribable indeed was the state of his being, unaffected by the worldly abundance or absence thereof, unmoved by the joys and sorrows of the other world. What is to happen after death? His heart was as pure as a mirror, and his speech showered nectar. The king, the pauper, the poor, and the meek were all equal in his eyes. He was beyond honor or insults. He saw God in every living being. He behaved ordinarily with all people, witnessed the dance and frolic of the Murlis, listened to the songs and gazers swaying to them, but his inner state of samadhi was absolutely undisturbed. The name of Allah was imprinted on his heart. He slept when the world was awake. He was awake when the world was asleep. His nature was like a peaceful deep ocean. It is difficult to determine through which ashrama or the stage of life he was passing or the exact state of the activities. Every often he did not move from his seat, but he knew everything that was happening. Outwardly, there was a darbar like grandeur. He talked of 1,001 things. This was a permanent show arranged by him, but inwardly he was committed to silence. He used to stand leaning against the wall, take rounds in the mornings and the afternoons, going to the Lendi or the Chavadi, but undisturbed was the state of self-realization. I do not know in which birth, at what time or what occasion, in what way I performed the penance of as a fruit of which Sai took me under his wings. Should I call this a fruit of my penance? But no, I am born sinful. It is Sai himself who is kind and loving, and definitely it is his grace. Although born a Siddha, his ways were those of the Sadhaka. He had no pride and was full of humility, and he pleased everybody. Just as Eknath and Dhyaneshwar brought glory to Pathan and Alandi, so also Sai made Shirdi a celebrated place of exaltation. Blessed are the blades of grass and stones in Shirdi, which without any effort were able to kiss Baba's feet every day and were able to bear the dust of his feet on their heads. For us, Shirdi is Pandharpur. For us, Shirdi is our Jagannath Puri. Dwaraka Gaya, Kashi, Vishweshwar. Shirdi is our Rameshwar. Shirdi is our Badrikedar. Shirdi is Nashik, Triambik, Triambakeshwar, Shirdi is Ujjain Mahakaleshwar, Shirdi is Mahabaleshwar Gokarn. The very association with Sai and Shirdi is like the study of Nigamas and Agamas, and the healing touch in the applications of life. He is easily way to supreme goal. Samartha Sai's darshan is itself means for our union with the divine, and the conversing of him our sins are washed away. Pressing his feet is like bathing at the confluence of the three rivers Ganga, Yamuna, and Saraswati, and partaking of the water washings of his feet uproots all desires. His command is like a Vedic sermon for us. Purifying and sacred in every sense are his Udi. Sai is to us a supreme Brahman, the highest spiritual bliss. Sai is our Sri Krishna, Sri Rama, and Sai is our rest and refuge. Sai is beyond the twofold nature of the world, never sad or happy, always engrossed in his own self, and permanently in a Brahman. Shirdi is the center of Baba's Sri Ram is far and wide. It extends up to Punjab, Calcutta, North India, Gujarat, Deccan, and Karnataka. The Samadhi of Sai at Shirdi is the gathering place for all the saints. Every step on the way is to its severs one link of the chain of worldly existence. The mere darshan of this samadhi is the fulfillment of one's life. How can I describe then the good fortune of whose have spent their lives in his service? Over the masjid and Divara, rows of beautiful flags flutter high in the sky, which seems to beckon the devotees. Baba is a renowned saint whose fame has spread far and wide. Some woe to him in faith for the fulfillment of their wishes, while some attain inward peace by the mere darshan of him. Whatever may be the secret wishes of anyone, whether pure or unscrupulous, their mind is at peace at the every sight of him. People are therefore surprised in their heart of hearts. The same marvelous vision which one has at the sight of Vitthal and Rukmai at Pandharpur is experienced in Shirdi by Baba's darshan. If anyone feels that this is an exaggeration, then listen to the words of Gauli Bua, who was a firm devotee of Vitthal, the dispel of all doubts. He is a Varkari, regular visitor of Pandharpur. He visited Pandharpur every year. He also visited Shirdi once a year. He loved Baba very much. Bua was accompanied by an ass and a companion who was also his disciple. He continuously chanted Ram Krishna Hari. He was 95 years old. He spent 4 months of the monsoon on the banks of the Godavari and stayed for about 8 months at the Pandharpur. He visited Baba every year. Gazing at Baba in all humility, he would say, "This is a Pandharinath, incarnate protector and the destitute of merciful." Can anyone become the saint by wearing dhotis with silken borders? To become a saint, what is required? His heart penance. Till the bones were out, thin and blood becomes water. Can anyone attain godhood without efforts? This is Pandhari Rao incarnate. The world is ignorant. Believing this firmly, perceive the divinity behind it. These are the words of the great devotee who loved Pandhari Nath. Compared to him, what experiences can a humble man like the boast of? Let the listener's own experiences be the best guide. Baba loved the Namasmarna. He himself constantly repeated the words of Allah Malik. He would arrange for the 7-day ceaseless chanting of the Nama in his presence day and night. One occasion, Baba commanded Das Ganu to conduct such a 7-day chanting. When Das Ganu sought the assurance from Baba that then Vitthal should appear in person, Baba, laying his hand on his heart, assured him with confidence and told him firmly, "Yes, of course, Vitthal in person will appear. The devotee should be full of faith." Dankapuri and the Kurnath or Pandhari of Vitthal or Dwaraka Nagari of Ranchod are here only, in search of which you need not to go a long distance. Is Vitthal going to come from anywhere else, leaving his private quarters? He would appear here, springing up out of the intense devotion of the devotee. By serving his parents, Pundalik captivated the gods of gods. Seeing Pundalik's devotion, the Lord stood on the brick and waited. After the 7th day of chanting, Baba's words came true, and it is said that Das Ganu had darshan of Lord Vitthal at Shirdi. Thus, Baba's predictions was experienced and verified. Once, when Kaka Sahib Dikshit was in meditation after his routine morning bath, he got a darshan of Vitthal. Later on, when he went for Baba's darshan, Baba surprised him by asking, "Had not Vitthal Patil come? Did you meet him? That Vitthal is very elusive. Hold to him firmly, otherwise he will slip away if your attention wavers even for a moment." This episode took place in the morning. Again in the afternoon, see further evidence of the joyous appearance of Vitthal. A hawker from another place outside Shirdi came to the village with the intention of selling 20 to 25 beautiful pictures of Vitthal. It was the exact replica of the image which was seen in the morning meditation. Dikshit was surprised and he recalled Baba's words. Dikshit lovingly purchased one of the pictures by paying the price to the seller and installed it with devotion for the daily worship. There is another beautiful episode of the world worship of Vitthal being equivalent of offering respect to Sai. Listen to it with joy and happiness. Govind Sri Sagar's father, one of the leading devotees of Vitthal, often went to Pandharpur. There was an image of Vitthal in the home, but when the father was passed away, the performance of the puja, offering of the Naivedya, etc. was stopped. Even the rituals at the home of death anniversary were discontinued. Bhagwant Rao also gave up the annual pilgrimage to Pandharpur, but when he went to Shirdi, Baba recalled his father and said, "He was my friend. He is my beloved friend's son. That is why I have dragged him here. He does not offer Naivedya. He starves me also. He keeps Vitthal also hungry. Therefore I brought him to Shirdi. Now I will remind him to make him do the puja." Once, knowing that it was the Parva holy time, Das Ganu wished to bath at Prayag Tirth and came to Baba to take his permission. Baba in return said, "You need not to go that far for it. This itself is a Prayag bag. Have strong faith in your heart." Oh, how can I praise Baba's greatness? As Das Ganu put the head at Baba's feet, water trickled out from both his toes as if it was the water of Ganga and Yamuna oozing out. Having witnessed this miracle, Das Ganu was overcome with emotion. What was a great favor was bestowed upon him by Baba. Tears sprang from his eyes. His speech was inspired. Love brimmed up in his heart. He felt satisfied only after describing Baba's immeasurable greatness and wonderful deeds. Even when such is the case of my mind wanders idly, Now, this is my request to you, Baba, make it steady. The vilest of the viles and the greatest sinner, I take refuge at your feet. Please ward off the threefold afflictions of Das Ganu. Be it so, the expiate the deadly sins, people take recourse to the water of the Ganga. But Ganga herself resorts to the feet of the saints for washing away her own sins. Leaving the sacred feet, it is not necessary to go on the pilgrimage to Ganga Godavari. Listen to the sweet life and praises of Saint Sai with devotion. Just as by good fortune Namdev was found by the Gunai in Bhimarati river, and the Kabir and the mother of pearl shell by Tamal of Bhagirathi river. In the same manner, Sri Sainath appeared for the sake of his devotees in the village of Shirdi under a neem tree at a young age of 16. When he appeared at that time itself, he was a realized person. Even in dreams, he had no passions. He had kicked away and discarded worldly passions, and mukti was, as it were, decorating his feet like anklets. No one knew where or in which peer's family or of which parents Baba was born. No one knew of his antecedents, and the people were at their wits' end trying to find out who his parents were. Leaving behind mother, father, relatives, kin and kith, the caste, in the fact of worldly ties, he appeared in Shirdi for the good of people. One old woman of Shirdi, the mother of Nana Chokdar, has been telling the mysterious and wondrous of Baba. So says she, in the beginning is this young lad, fair, handsome, and charming, was first visible under the neem tree, sitting quiet and cross-legged. Seeing the form of the beautiful child, people were extremely surprised to find him performing hard penance at the tender age, and for whom sun and shade were the same. This state at the tender age amazed all the villagers who came from far and wide to have darshan of the boy. He kept no company during day, and in night he was never scared. From where has such child appeared? Everyone wondered. He was very handsome. At the first very sight of him, people felt attracted towards him. He did not reside in anybody's house or go to anybody's doorstep. Day and night he was found under the neem tree. Everyone was truly amazed at the boy, so tender of age and so good looking, who lived in the open day and night. Everyone was wonderstruck that the boy outwardly looked like a child, but in his deeds was greater than the greatest, and he was the incarnation of non-attachment. One day a strange thing happened. Lord Khandoba possessed the bodies of the few persons who started roving around the people, started asking questions. Who are the fortunate parents of this little boy? And how and whence has he come here? Lord Khandoba, at least you find out. This was the same question from all. The deity replied, Go bring a pickaxe and dig at the place which I show you. You will come to know the whereabouts of the boy. Strike the pickaxe at the place. Then near the border of the village, under a very neem tree, after digging repeatedly, they found bricks at the spot. When they came to the end of the layer of bricks that moved aside the lower half of the grinding stone which blocked the entrance, they saw an underground cavern in which 4 samais, tall brass lamps, were burning. The cavern was paved with limestone, and round in the which were the flat wooden seats shaped like a cow's face and a beautiful rosary. And the deity said, This is where the boy did penance for 12 years. All the people were surprised and asked the boy probing questions, but the boy was highly mischievous and told them altogether a different story. He said, "This is the place of my Guru. This holy place is my inheritance. I request you to maintain it as it is." So said Baba, and people listened to him. But why does my tongue utter that whatever Baba said was not right thing? I am astonished by myself as to why I should hold this opinion about Baba. But now I have understood that it must have been said lightly to put people off the scent. Baba was humorous by nature, and the caravan may have been his own abode. But what does it matter if he was attributed it to his guru? The importance does not diminish. So be it. As per Baba's orders, the cavern was closed up by replacing the bricks, as he had said that it was his guru's abode. As the Ashwatha and the Audambar trees are important, so was the neem tree important for Baba. He loved it very much and held it in high esteem. Mahaspati and others who were the old residents of Shirdi used to bow down at the place, believing it to be the Samadhi Sthan of Baba's Guru. Near the Samadhi, by observing 12 years of silence, Baba had done penance. This became well known. Sathi Sahib, one of the Baba's devotee, acquired the surrounding land near the Samadhi and the neem tree and constructed a building with verandas on all the four sides. This is the same building and the same vara which was the original central meeting place of the pilgrims, which was always crowded, and there was a lot of hustle and bustle there. When Sati built the platform round the neem tree and the upper floor south-north, he indicated this underground cell when the staircase was laid. Under the staircase facing south is a beautiful niche opposite to the platform, where the devotees sit facing to the north. On Thursdays and Fridays after sunset, if anyone who smears the ground or with cow dung and burns incense, even for a moment, will be blessed by God. Perhaps the listeners in their hearts may suspect this statement to be an exaggeration and question the truth of it. But these are the very words of Baba, and I have heard them coming from the mouth of Baba. The statement is not fabricated by me. Do not have the least doubt about it. Those who have heard it directly are still alive to bear testimony to it. Later on, Dixit's Vada was built, which housed larger families, and a short time thereafter, a stone Vada was built there. From a very beginning, Dixit was known as a man of spiritual merit and was a very incarnation of devotion. He had gone on the tour of England, where the seed of his own devotion was sown. At this stage, the listeners may question, leaving aside Mathura, Kashi, Dwaraka, England, which follows other religions, can be instrumental in the showing way of the ultimate truth. The listeners will naturally doubt. When it is clarified, they will be surprised. I hope all will pardon me if I digress a little. He had already accumulated enough religious merit by his pilgrimages to Kashi, Prayag, Badrikeshwar, Mathura, Vrindavan, and Dwarka. Moreover, due to the good deeds of his father, his great good fortune and outcome of the good deeds of his past births, that he got the privilege of Sai's darshan. The root cause of the darshan was the fate to be lame due to the fall in England, which he was there. Although outwardly it looked like an evil conjunction, the outcome was a good omen, because it was a fruitful and gave it an opportunity to have the association with Sai, which is rare. he happened to meet Chandorkar and heard about the fame of Sai. Chandorkar said if Sai granted him his grace, the lameness would disappear immediately. But Dixit did not consider his lameness as a shortcoming. The deficiencies of his mind were what he asked Sai to remove. What is a transient human frame but a collection of skin, blood, flesh, and bones, which is but a means of functioning in the material world? It does not matter if the leg remains lame. It was the 2nd November of 1909 that Dixit met Sai for the first time and had the meritorious and purifying darshan. Later on, in the same year, in the month of December, he went again to Shirdi for another darshan and thought of staying on. He first thought of disposing of some 25 shares of his to build a tin shed which would be useful also to the pilgrims. Later on, he decided to build a vada and find the auspicious day for laying the foundation stone in the following year. On the 9th of December, he took Baba's permission and considered that very day to be an auspicious one for laying the foundation stone. Dixit's brother, who otherwise would not have come even after the invitation, had arrived on that very day for the auspicious Muhurat. Dada Sahib Khapade had already come there alone. He felt awkward to ask Baba for the permission to return home, but one of the 10th December, Khapade was allowed to leave Shirdi and Dixit to lay the foundation. Both these permissions were given on that day. Another important event took place on this day. The bedtime arati at the Chavadi was started on this day with great love and faith. Later on, in 1911, the auspicious day of Ram Navami, the house occupying ceremony was accomplished according to the usual rites. Later on, the rich booty's imposing building was also built on which a lot of money was spent, but this money was proved to have been one well utilized by Baba was laid to rest there. Now there were 3 varas where there was none before, but initially it was Sathe's vara which was very useful for everybody. This vara has also another significance for on this word of land Baba had raised the garden of flowers with his own hands. The story of the garden will be briefly related in the next chapter. Hemant, along with the listeners, rests his head at the feet of Sai. Vaman Tatya supplied him with mud pots with which the great Sai watered the garden which blossomed on the barren land. Thereafter Sai disappeared. Later, Chand Patil met him near Aurangabad and Sai accompanied him to Shirdi along with the marriage party. Later, he met Devi Das, got acquainted by Janki Das, and Gangagir also came to his attention. The trio thus met at Shirdi. Then followed the wrestling bout at Mohiddin, after which they moved into the masjid. Then he developed attachment for the dingle and the people started gathering around. These are the stories of the anecdotes which will be told in the next chapter. Now Hemant surrenders to Sai and prostrates before him. This singleness of heart, may there be well-being. This is the end of the 4th chapter, the appearance of Sai Samartha of Sri Sai Satcharita, written by the devotee Hemantpant, impelled by the saints and virtuous people. This is offered by Sri Sadguru Sainath. May there be auspiciousness. Om Sai Ram.